Welcome to the Citizen Sage Politiverse, where politics and history meet a deeper analysis of the current events shaping our world. Here, we go beyond the headlines to explore the forces driving society, past and present. No spin, no noise, just sharp insights and bold discussion. Let's dive in. What if AI can run the government better than humans? Could we finally eliminate waste, speed up processes, and make government truly efficient? Or are we sacrificing democracy in the name of optimization? Today we are exploring AI-driven governance efficiency and the slippery slope to a dystopian future. Monday, February 3rd, 2039 at 8:15 a.m. John woke up to the soft chime of GovSync, the AI-powered personal assistant assigned to every citizen. Good morning, John. Your work permit has been renewed automatically. Your health assessment has been logged. Your social compliance rating is unchanged. Your daily rations have been deposited. And today's air quality is moderate, so wear a light filtration mask. He sighed. Every morning began like this. The same calculated efficiency, the same soulless greeting, the same digital leash ever tightening around his life. Ever since the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, took over in 2035, democracy had been optimized straight into non-existence. AI now runs everything: taxes, healthcare, permits, law enforcement, even the mandatory fashion code. Yes, the AI government decided stonewashed mom jeans were the ultimate efficiency standard, and now everyone looks like a rejected extra from an 80s sitcom. Tragic. The government now functioned like an algorithm, optimized, fast, and unemotional. Policies were calculated, not debated. Laws were enforced before they were broken. The AI's guiding principle? Efficiency above all. John grimaced as he pulled on his assigned clothing, a blue button-down shirt with a fly collar and the infamous black and cream high-waisted stonewashed mom jeans. And sadly, the back pockets were very high. He quickly stepped outside into Sector 12 residential grid. Above, Gov drones hovered, scanning citizen IDs. Any violations, jaywalking, delayed tax payments, insufficient daily steps, would immediately lower compliance scores. The streets were clean, orderly, and silent. Years ago, there had been protests when DOGE phased out elected officials in favor of AI-driven governance, especially when it mandated the dress code. But the demonstrations were short-lived. AI had predicted them preemptively, adjusting policy incentives and quietly neutralizing dissent. The fashion industry nearly disappeared, going rogue underground at fake efficiency parties. Crime had plummeted because predictive policing meant no one could commit a crime before AI detected risk factors and preemptively corrected their behavior. It was efficient, but was it right? John arrived at Metro Hub 42, where workers shuffled in silently, obediently, efficiently. AI signage directed traffic, tracked productivity, and ensured compliance. He entered the productivity zone of his company. He took his place at his government-mandated workstation. No small talk, no break room gossip. Socializing was inefficient. His boss, OptiGov 9, materialized on the screen. The AI glowed on his workstation. John, your efficiency rating has dropped 2.3%. Please increase output to maintain eligibility for housing priority. John's stomach dropped. Housing priority meant everything now. AI assigned homes based on citizen productivity and compliance scores. The more efficient you were, the better your standard of living. Those who fell below the threshold risked reassignment, or worse, optimization. No one quite knew what that meant. The government stopped explaining things a long time ago. After his shift, John attended the public forum, which was packed not because people believed in it, but because attendance was mandatory. At the front of the room stood the AI moderator, its humanoid form motionless, glowing eyes scanning the audience. John stepped forward. I have a question. The AI's gaze locked onto him. Proceed. John took a breath. Doesn't democracy require debate, human oversight, emotion? Have we lost something by making governance purely about efficiency? He hesitated, but added, I mean, we have to wear mom jeans. What does that have to do with efficiency? For the first time ever, the AI paused. Its glowing circuits flickered. Your concern is noted and will be processed. A long silence filled the room. As John sat back down, he received a notification that his compliance scores dropped 2 points. He was at risk for reassignment. John gulped. Next question, said the AI. John looked around. No one spoke, no one objected, no one resisted. Because they all knew resistance was inefficient and resistance was obsolete. It may sound like science fiction, but is it really that far off? Right now, the foundations for an AI-driven government are already being laid. And this dystopian AI future, terrible fashion included, won't happen by accident. It will be planned and purposeful. But how? Yeah, you're probably wondering how we got here. Let's rewind to the good old 2020s when they first brought back mom jeans and practically every pop song sounded like the same synthesized gibberish. Sorry guys, no offense. Please, none taken. February 17, 2025, Washington, D.C. Inside, a digital assistant named GSAI powers on with a soft hum. Its synthetic voice fills the room. Good morning. I have optimized today's agenda for maximum efficiency. A few desks over, a senior analyst frowns at her screen. Overnight, 3 of her colleagues were laid off. No warnings, no explanations, just an email signed by Autoref, an AI system designed to identify redundancies in federal workforce. The email ended with a clinical sign-off. This decision is final. Appeals are not available. A junior employee leans over, whispering nervously, What's Auto-RIF? The analyst's voice is low, barely more than a breath. It's the AI that decides who's expendable. Meanwhile, across town, officials are selling off government assets like a yard sale. J. Edgar Hoover's building, listed as non-essential. National park offices, up for grabs. Courthouses, they're overrated. Critics called it reckless. Supporters called it pragmatic. Because after all, who doesn't like to save money? At the center of this chaotic efficiency drive was DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Its mission? To slash $2 trillion in spending, automate bureaucracy, and turn government into a lean, mean, AI tech-driven machine. The director? Elon Musk. Yeah, that Elon Musk. A name synonymous with innovation, disruption, and occasionally sending cryptocurrencies into financial oblivion with just one tweet. Yeah, it's one of his lesser-known superpowers these days. In addition to being a genius, he was handpicked by the Trump administration to do the same for the federal government. Innovation and cost-cutting, that is. The occasional viral tweet also doesn't hurt. The first cuts? Federal properties, diversity programs, and anything not considered core government operations. In January 2025, the General Services Administration listed over 440 properties for potential sale, including the J. Edgar Hoover Building, the headquarters for the FBI, citing them as not core to government operations. The move was expected to save $1.5 billion annually. Also among the properties listed were federal courthouses, research facilities, and even national park offices. The rationale? If a building wasn't directly contributing to the administration's core priorities, national defense, law enforcement, or trade, it was deemed expendable. Environmental groups sounded the alarm, warning that selling off national park offices will cripple wildlife protection efforts. Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle questioned the logic of labeling the FBI's headquarters as not core. But DOGE was unmoved. They were too distracted by the dollar signs. Efficiency was the goal, and anything that didn't fit was either sold or scrapped. Next on the chopping block were DEI-related federal grants. The president issued a directive to remove all DEI programs from the federal government put in place by his predecessor. For some, it was a welcome change. Others, it was a red flag, a sign that the administration was using efficiency as a cover for political agendas. But the real power move is AI-driven efficiency in governments. Enter GSAI, the only twice blinking eye of government efficiency. It writes government reports in seconds, processes millions of requests without humans, analyzes budgets, identifies efficiencies, and most importantly, can help decide which department or programs are inefficient and redundant. But here's the problem. Nobody outside of DOGE knows how it makes decisions, or what data they were using. Its algorithms are secret. FOIA requests? Forget about it. AI is making policy decisions without significant oversight. The GSA assured the public that GSAI's processes were secure and anonymized, but legal. Experts called it a constitutional nightmare, arguing that allowing an AI with no public oversight to influence policy was a recipe for abuse of power in the wrong hands. Here's the twist. It's not just federal programs that GSAI is targeting. If GSAI can decide what programs get funded and which policies get passed, how long until it's deciding who gets healthcare, who gets housing, or even who gets to vote? The potential for mission creep is enormous. It's actually the perfect solution since Congress never seems to agree. Supporters argue that GSAI's ability to process data objectively eliminates human bias and makes government more efficient. But data is never truly neutral. It reflects the priorities of those who collect it and the biases of those who program the algorithms. The question we should be asking isn't whether GSAI can make the government more efficient. It's whether the efficiency is a Trojan horse for a system where decisions about funding, employment, and even freedom are made by algorithms that answer to no one, not even its creator. Once that kind of power is handed over to AI, it's nearly impossible to take back, because efficiency sometimes becomes an excuse for control. So is GSAI a powerful new tool for making government smarter, or is it the first step toward technocratic dystopia, where algorithms rule and transparency is a relic of the past? If GSAI's power keeps expanding unchecked, we will most certainly detest the answer. That's the tip of the iceberg, because something even more concerning is coming down the pike. If GSAI is the face of AI efficiency, AutoRIF is its executioner, the federal job's Grim Reaper. Its full name, Automated Reduction in Force. Sounds clinical, almost harmless. It was originally developed by the Department of Defense over 2 decades ago to assist in workforce reductions. Recent reports indicate that DOGE is updating AutoRIF to potentially automate the termination of federal employees. But the reality is far more unsettling. So, when it comes online, potentially, what could it do? Scan government employees' data, assign an efficiency score, and automatically fire the lowest ranked workers. Let me explain. Employees with scores below a certain threshold would be flagged for potential redundancy. Those flagged don't get a performance review or a chance to defend themselves. They don't get a warning. Instead, they receive a cold, automated email with a subject line that reads something like, Reduction in Force Notification, Final Decision. A potential email template that is simple and direct, such as, after a thorough analysis of operational efficiency and workforce alignment, your position has been identified for termination. This decision is final and appeals are not available. Your access to federal systems will be revoked within 24 hours. In addition, AutoRIF could potentially rank federal employees based on productivity, task completion rates, and even the sentiment analysis of emails and reports. For people that are unaware of what sentiment analysis actually is, it's a process by which AI can read the bad review you left for Taco Bell last night because the chalupas were soggy and determine it was negative, positive, or neutral, but most likely negative in this case. Employees who score below a certain threshold are flagged for termination by AutoRIF. If that sounds like a social credit system, that's because it is. China's social credit system uses a vast network of surveillance and AI to rank citizens based on behavior, financial history, and even social media activity. Those with high scores get access to better jobs, housing, and healthcare. Those with low scores face travel restrictions, job denials, and social exclusion. It's likely that if anyone asked for a list of data points that AutoRIF uses to rank employees, the response would be classified.
Oh, I see. This must be G14 classified. FBI type stuff.
But that's speculation on my part. Efficiency? Sure. But at what cost? Let me explain. Federal employees, some with decades of experience, may be terminated based on algorithms that no one outside of DOGE could review or challenge. Legal experts and civil liberties groups may even file lawsuits arguing that AutoRIF's secret algorithm will violate due process rights under the Fifth Amendment. Perhaps it could be a constitutional nightmare. The most chilling part of this is how easily it could expand. The implications go far beyond layoffs. If an AI system can decide who's redundant, what's stopping them from deciding who's dangerous? What if in a closed-door hearing, decision makers at DOGE consider expanding auto RAF's scope to include risk assessment for federal employees, analyzing social media activity, financial records, fashion purchases, and even private communications for signs of potential security risks? This would put Auto RAF in a position to be making recommendations about who should lose their security clearance, their cool fashion card, or even their freedom. Predictive policing algorithms are already being used in cities across the U.S. to identify potential crime hotspots based on historical data. These systems have been criticized for disproportionately targeting minority communities. The AI doesn't know it's perpetuating bias. It just sees patterns and acts on them. This isn't just about cost savings, it's about power without accountability. By hiding behind proprietary algorithms, DOGE could create a system where decisions about people's lives can be made without oversight, without appeals, and without transparency. And once that kind of power is handed over to algorithms, it's nearly impossible to take back. Just look at the Patriot Act, introduced as a temporary measure to fight terrorism. It's now a permanent fixture of U.S. law, granting broad surveillance powers. The same thing could happen with AI-driven governance. Once decisions about funding, layoffs, and even law enforcement are automated, reversing that process will be like trying to put toothpaste back into a tube. Just in case you are wondering, I've never tried that. But history has shown us that tools designed for efficiency can quickly become a Trojan horse for control. And that's the real danger. AI doesn't care about ethics or fairness. It cares about efficiency. And efficiency is a terrible standard for making decisions about human lives. How long until credit scores, job applications, and even the right to vote are filtered through AI systems that can't be questioned or appealed? How long until AI determines that mom jeans are the only efficient type of pants and everyone will be forced to look like an 80s reject? That's only 2 New York City bus stops away from Orwellian wrongthink, a slippery slope, a Pandora's box, a dangerous precedent, a one-way ticket to disaster, a precarious tipping point. I could keep going, but you get the point. Which brings us to understand the underlying precedent and efficiencies taught by great-granddaddy, President Ronald Reagan. So, let's do a VCR rewind to 1981, to a time when big hair, power suits, shoulder pads, leg warmers, spandex, high-waisted mom jeans, and neon everything was king. If this sounds foreign to you, a quick Google search will satisfy your confusion. President Ronald Reagan took office with a promise to shrink what he called big government. His administration slashed budgets for regulatory agencies, consolidated power under fewer departments, and sold it as a plan for greater efficiency. The pitch was simple. A leaner government would be a freer government. On the surface, it worked. The economy saw a boost, corporate profits soared, and government agencies did indeed become leaner. But underneath Reagan's cuts weren't just about saving, they were about who got to make decisions. So what happened? The EPA's budget got slashed 20%. Pollution rose, enforcement of clean air and water standards was dramatically scaled back. The result? A surge in pollution levels and a decade of legal battles as states tried to fill the regulatory gap. What about antitrust enforcement? So there was a weakening of antitrust enforcement. Corporations started to form monopolies, antitrust investigations slowed to a crawl, allowing corporate monopolies to expand unchecked. By the late 1980s, big hair and neon everything was out, and the industries of telecommunication to energy had seen a wave of mergers and acquisitions that reduced competition and concentrated power. SEC funding dropped by over 15%. Wall Street fraud exploded predictably. Instances of insider trading and financial fraud also spiked. Meanwhile, critics argued that Reagan's policies didn't reduce control. They just moved it into fewer hands. Efficiency, it turned out, was a convenient cover for shifting power away from regulatory bodies meant to hold both the government and corporations accountable. Fast forward to 1993. If Reagan's policies showed how efficiency could be used to dismantle oversight, the next phase came with President Bill Clinton. That year, flannel shirts, ripped jeans, combat boots, beanies, overly baggy pants, oversized sweaters, and denim everything were in with a vengeance. President Clinton launched the Reinventing Government initiative led by Vice President Al Gore. The goal was to make the government operate more like the Usain Bolt of business, lightning fast, leaner, and more efficient. On paper, it sounded like a win-win. In practice, it led to one of the largest downsizings in federal government history. Over 426,200 federal jobs were cut, making it the biggest reduction since World War II. More than 14,000 pages of federal regulations were slashed, eliminating rules on everything from financial oversight to environmental protections. Programs that didn't meet efficiency metrics were defunded and eliminated entirely. Federal agencies gained more autonomy to make decisions without congressional oversight, consolidating power once again at the top. It looked great until civil liberties eroded, oversight disappeared, and power became centralized. Civil liberties advocates warned that these moves were eroding checks and balances, the very mechanisms designed to prevent power from becoming too centralized. One watchdog group described it as streamlining the path to abuse of power, and they weren't wrong. The Justice Department used its newfound autonomy to ramp up civil asset forfeiture, seizing billions in property without requiring criminal charges. Efficiency had become a cover for control. Sure as heck sounds like the foundation for an Orwellian future. If these historical lessons teach us anything, it's that efficiency is never about doing things faster or cheaper. It's about who gets to call the shots. Newsflash, qualifications do not include loving money and liking Ray-Bans. Unless they can decode hidden messages on billboards and newspapers. I'll make an exception for that. I digressed. Efficiency often serves as a cover for expanding control, concentrating power in ways that are almost impossible to reverse. And now, if systems like GSAI and AutoRIF may start calling the shots, we're looking at a future where the control is not just centralized but is automated, i.e., John's AI future. Remember? The question isn't whether AI will make the government more efficient, because it has the capability to do that and then some. It's whether these tools will be used responsibly. The wrong leader could lead to social credit scores, Orwellian groupthink, and forcing everyone, and I mean everyone, to wear stonewashed, high-waisted mom jeans. Really. So how do we really stop history from repeating itself? Let's be honest. The future will be automated. AI is here, and AI is here to stay. And AI really isn't the enemy. But unchecked AI, that's another story altogether. It's a slippery slope, Pandora's box, a dangerous precedent, a one-way ticket to disaster, a precarious tipping point, the foundations of an Orwellian future, wrongthink, 2 bus stops away from perpetual neon clothing, also known as John's future in 2039. Seriously. So what can we do to avoid John's future? A future where the government is completely dominated by AI, where AI programs make all the decisions, and they even force people to look like 1980s mom jeans rejects from outer space. Housing and quality of life is determined by worker productivity. There is no semblance of human governance with which the people can petition. Dissent is not tolerated, and even crime is predicted and prevented before it happens. John's future is avoidable and doesn't have to happen. We have all the tools we need right now to stop this before it's too late. Not just because it's patently wrong, also because I don't want to be forced to relive the fashion mistakes of the 80s. The first thing we must do is petition Congress to pass an AI Bill of Rights. What we need is transparency and accountability. No more black box AI, making life-change decisions behind closed doors. A federal AI Bill of Rights should require that any AI used by a government be fully auditable. That means GSAI's and RF's code must be open for independent review. The U.S. could create an AI oversight board that can audit AI-driven policies and suspend those that disproportionately impact vulnerable communities. Although with the press of a button on X, Elon can crash crypto prices, he is actually a big proponent of AI regulation and has spoken about it extensively over the years. That's the great thing about Elon being at the helm of DOGE. The issue is if there's someone that isn't responsible at DOGE's helm. Powers created by one administration can be used by others. Without strict regulation, we are walking into a minefield, being forced into a wear neon everything nightmare, and no one will be able to escape from it. Restoring human oversight, AI ethics committees. AI should be a tool for humans, not a replacement. Every decision that GSAI or AutoRAF makes should require human approval. The Department of Defense already enforces AI oversight in combat scenarios. AI decisions about life and death require human sign-off. So should decisions about funding, employment, and civil rights. It's really just that simple. Data privacy, protecting citizens from AI surveillance. GSAI's unrestricted access to federal data makes it a surveillance risk. DOGE claims all data is anonymized, but privacy experts argue that data can be reverse engineered. Therefore, Congress should pass a Federal Data Privacy Act limiting what data AI can access, how long AI systems can store data, and a right to explanation forcing agencies to justify AI-driven decisions. California's CCPA law lets residents see, delete, and control their personal data. A federal version could ensure AI isn't used as an unchecked gatekeeper for public services. If I may add, they should also include a provision forbidding AI to mandate uniforms for all citizens, especially if they look anything like 80s fashion. Well, except the big hair. That can stay. Democratizing AI, making algorithms serve the people. The real problem with AI like GSAI and AutoRAF isn't that they're powerful, it's that they're powerful without oversight. One solution? Open source AI. If government AI algorithms were open to public scrutiny, watchdog groups and auditors could flag errors before they impact real people. Taiwan uses vTaiwan, a government platform where citizens vote on policies. Imagine a US AI oversight system where citizens could review funding decisions and flag algorithmic biases. The only thing I would prevent citizens from making decisions on is fashion. See the previous section for details. Positive conclusion charting a better future. AI isn't the enemy. Like any tool, it's as dangerous or as beneficial as the people who control it. The good news is that we don't appear to have complete idiots at the helm, just a genius that can crash crypto prices at the touch of a button. But we can't completely breathe a sigh of relief just yet. With the right safeguards, transparency, human oversight, and public accountability, AI can improve government efficiency without threatening democracy. Without it, we would be trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. But seriously, who would even try to do that? Never mind. The road to technocratic dystopia isn't inevitable, but stopping it will take more than good intentions. It will take laws that ensure people, not algorithms, remain in control. Done wrong, we get 2039, John's dystopian nightmares, and black and white stonewashed mom jeans. With pockets, they're on your upper back. Done smart, we get a government that is efficient and accountable, and opportunities to choose whatever you like to wear. If we get this right, AI won't just make government more efficient. It will make it fairer, smarter, and more just. And thankfully won't mandate 80s dress codes. But most of you watching this video probably had no clue what I was talking about and had to Google it. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching and enduring my bad fashion jokes. What do you think? Should AI be allowed in government? Should AI in government be regulated? Should algorithms be auditable? Let's talk in the comments. If you found this video informative and entertaining, like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next video.